Greetings everyone, Zannrath here. Welcome back to Everlasting Summer, and hopefully today we'll be able to see at least one of Slavia's endings. Let's go ahead and just fast forward through this. I actually did do a little bit of experimenting before this actual recording, because I played through and wasn't able to trigger any of Slavia's endings, good or bad. And I think I know why, perhaps. And I'll try to explain it based on the choices that are coming up. So, like I said, I think I'm going to try to go for the bad ending first, and I think right now I have, I think I have 6, maybe 7, I think it was 7, right? 7 points in Slavia's route. So, I was going to go for 8 total, which I think is the max you can have. You have to have either 7 or 8, based on this guide, in order to trigger the bad ending. And given that I think I have 7 right now, I'm actually going to go with Lena. And since we've already seen this, I'm just going to fast forward through this, and I'll explain why once we get to the other choice. So, we're going to go ahead and we're going to say, yep, I tried my best, because that does not put a point in the Slavia route. And let's go ahead and finish grabbing our cake. We go to the library for flour. Right, sorry Alyssa, your choice is inconsequential right now. We hit up the nurse for the yeast, but we get beer instead. That was super. And hit up the clubhouse. See the little robot cat girl. To get the sugar. So there it is. We got our cake. Best cake ever. It's sugar, flour, and beer. Alright, so we gotta fast forward, and Oligon's gonna do that cake fiasco thing. Alright, you're in trouble. And now we're going to go on our hike. Yep, Xenia is not happy to be with us. So, I'm going to say do nothing and stay seated. And we're going to go ahead and fast forward. Yep, join our club and all that stuff. So this is where I think things happen. I think you have to go try to find Slavia in order to trigger her endings. Whether it's good or bad, I don't know. But I did test things out, like I said. And when I did not choose this, I either went, like, you know, doing the other stuff. It didn't end up triggering her her ending. So, like I said, because I want to have at most 8 points in her route, this would be the 8th point. That's why I skipped her on the island. So let's go ahead and try to find Slavia now. I'm really interested in where Slavia has gone, though I also wanted to leave this place as fast as possible, and if not to finally lie down to sleep, then at the very least, spend some time alone, away from all these pioneers and Olga Dmitrovna, who just couldn't wait to occupy me with something again. I picked a good moment and fled into the forest. Man, we're just always running into the forest. I feel like that's a bad idea. Never go off into the middle of the forest by yourself. Night had fallen onto the camp, an absolutely normal and unremarkable night. One of those nights, when the dark sky, stars, or crescent moon don't trigger any special emotion, when the crickets is chirping, and the singing of night birds seemed more like an everyday routine than a nocturnal chorus. I wandered around the forest with no special purpose, trying to not go too far from the camp. After all, there was a chance to meet Olyana out here. Really? Okay, sure, I guess she would have probably not followed rules and came along or something like that. And that natural disaster would probably be even worse than the camp leader. Are we gonna run across like that lake or whatever that we saw Slavia like bathing in or whatever before? I sat down on a fallen tree and started thinking, why is this all happening to me? Why do I keep getting myself into foolish situations every time and everywhere? Even having suddenly appeared in a weird pioneer camp in the middle of nowhere, I don't get to become a subject in an experiment, a victim of a sick cosmic mind, or a participant in an intergalactic war on the side of a group of suicide-prone pacifists like a regular hero of science fiction. That's awfully specific. I don't know what that's supposed to reference. No, I get to hide in a night forest from a raving camp leader and her workhorse pioneers. The stars in the sky were shining brightly. Perhaps they give their light not only to me in this camp, but also shine on the city where I was born and where my home is. It was as if a it was as if a pain settled in my chest. Oh, flash of his little room or whatever. I envisioned my old flat clearly, and a detestable burning started making its way from my stomach to my throat. Uh-oh, heartburn, man. No, it was not wistfulness. More like a sad remembrance. Because despite all that's happened, I've felt more alive in less than 5 days here than I had for the last several years there. Good for you, Semyon. Now, I really wasn't sure if I wanted to go back. Only one question still ate at me. How and why I ended up here. It flared up yet again in my mind. I haven't spent much time seeking answers or even just thinking about my situation lately. My thoughts were occupied with everyday routine affairs, and now in order to break away and be able to wish to stay here for good, I need to understand the nature of this place. It's just that even a nightingale in a golden cage has the right to know how and by whose will he got in there. It's just that even a nightingale in a golden... Wait, I already said that. Oh, man. And after that, to make the choice whether to stay or not. Probably, I would have been lost in my existential thoughts for a long time, but I heard I heard voices approaching. Olga Dmitrovna and the pioneers. Looks like they're proceeding with their hike. I headed to the camp at a fast pace. I have no desire to go back to the camp leader's cabin because I would surely be scolded, and just waiting for it is much worse. Soon enough, I arrived at the beach. And I wasn't alone here. A pioneer uniform was lying in the sand. A girl's one. But no one seemed to be swimming in the water. I almost thought it was some new devilry when suddenly a voice came from behind. Skipping out on the hike? I thought you were still in the woods. I turned around and saw Slavia in a bikini. I know it's summer, but shouldn't it still kind of be cold if you're swimming at night? Sorry, I guess I interrupted you. That's okay, I'm almost done. Done with swimming, I guess, hopefully. Why did you decide to have a swim during the night? Oh, well, is it prohibited? She smiled. Well, no. Pretty sure it is, isn't it? Don't parks or whatever, or beaches usually have no swimming after a certain time? Well, no, it's just, Olga Dmitrovna, mind you leaving early? But you did the same. Slavia gave me a quick glance. Yeah, I did. I sat down on the sand and stared at the river. Oh, it's a river, not a beach. Okay. You didn't like the hike, did you? No, it's not that. I just wanted to be alone for some time. And I've interrupted you. No, not really. That's not like you at all. What are you talking about? Well, to leave like that. Well, I'm not a robot that can only act according to a predefined program. She laughed. Yeah, that's right. I was still puzzled, and my fatigue was also becoming stronger and stronger. My mind was absolutely blank. To be precise, it was so heavy and full so that not even a single idea would have the chance to dwell there. If I would compare my brain at its prime to a highway full of spinning thoughts overtaking each other and causing giant chaotic crashes, then now it's nothing but a forgotten tiny path in a distant, desolate forest, which is only used in times of absolute necessity. So I said the first thing that crossed my mind. Don't you think it's all pretty strange here? Strange? Everything that's happened here. It's the ideal model of a pioneer camp. Of course, it's not like I know a lot about them, but it looks exactly like I imagined it. What are you talking about? Slavia glanced at me perplexedly. Did you ever feel you're not where you belong? I don't know. More precisely, not where you are meant to be at all. As if thousands of kilometers away from home, or even in another galaxy. I don't understand you. We're similar in this. I laid down on my back and looked at the stars. And what would you think if I told you that I'm an alien from the future? Are you? Asked Slavia in dead earnest. Well, let's assume I am. How should I return to my time? Do you really want to? Yeah, all the conversation with her that have to do with my situation, even the slightest hints of it, always end up in the same place, or at the same place. It's like she's offering me a chance to stay, almost insisting on it. Well, let's say that I'm not sure. There, as we should call it, everything is like home to me. Or rather, more familiar. Practically everything is known to me and I'm prepared for any situation. And here, it's the other way around. Literally every little thing comes as a surprise, and everything's different. Is it really that bad? I wouldn't call it bad. Unfamiliar, unclear. Sometimes it can be hard to change something, especially for people with my personality. But what do you really want? To start with, I can't answer that question until I find out exactly where here is. Then go and find out. If only it was that easy. But what's so difficult about it? Everything's difficult. I don't even know where to start, and I'm constantly being distracted. You're talking about it so seriously, it's almost like it's all real. She laughed. Who knows? Pretty long silence followed. Suddenly, Slavia sneezed because it was cold. Bless you. Thanks. It wasn't a good idea to swim at night. You'll get ill. Hurry to your cabin, it's cold out here. It's nothing. I'd rather sit here with you a bit more. Oh man, that's so nice. Now, just let me dress. Well, I was certainly flattered, but... Wow, that was fast. Let's go. I guess she had her swimsuit underneath. Let's go. I'll walk you. But we didn't even walk a few dozen steps before Slavia grasped my arm. What's the matter? Oh, I suddenly felt dizzy. I touched her forehead. It was burning. I was never able to measure body temperature by touch, but in this case it was obvious. I told you. Achoo. Come on. No, I couldn't affect Xenia. Listen, we better go to the infirmary. And what would you do in the infirmary, or what would you do in the infirmary at night alone? That's nonsense. No, it's not nonsense. If you don't want to help, I'll go by myself. Oh man, she's mad at me. Angry even. She let go of my hand and was ready to leave. Don't get upset. Put this on, it's cold. I handed her my sweater, which I brought with me on the hike. Finally found some use for it. Good boy. Oh, that's weird. Thanks. What am I calling myself a good boy? Am I calling the jacket a good boy? She put the sweater on and gave me such a tender and caring look that I just couldn't argue with her anymore. Okay, fine. The infirmary it is, as you say. 5 minutes later, we were standing by the infirmary door and Slavia was picking out the right key. I still consider this idea quite foolish. Nobody ever died from the common cold. Pretty sure people die from the common cold. I know a lot of people die from the flu, but I'm pretty sure people can die from the cold. Well, you know, it's kind of a... Actually, I'm not sure. You might die from, not the cold, but like secondary infection, maybe? I don't know. I should know, but I don't. At least, not in the past century. Okay, that qualification... Actually, still, even then. I couldn't see any good reason to spend the night in the infirmary. Finally, Slavia opened the door and leaned on my arm. I'm still a bit dizzy, she said guiltily. Slavia landed on the bed. I sat on the chair nearby. Listen. Alone for the whole night in the infirmary? After all, at least Xenia could get you a glass of water if you needed one. She wouldn't catch the illness. She's young and strong. It's alright. I don't want to bother anyone, and the nurse will come tomorrow. I suddenly imagined myself in Slavia's place. Imagine that I had to spend the whole night here, alone. And shivers ran down my spine. Listen, maybe I can stay with you for a while. I owed a lot to Slavia. In fact, I didn't even want to leave. What for? Everything will be fine. Thanks for walking me over. You should go and get some sleep. I still think it's fine. For a moment I thought, of course, nothing terrible will happen to her here, but I myself would feel more relaxed if I stayed with her. Actually, that guy who gave me the apple might be coming for her. You never know what's going to happen at night. Isn't that kind of weird, though? Like, the nurse comes in and it's like, oh, why are you sleeping in the bed? It's like, oh, I was sick last night, so I came here. It's like, okay. I think... Oh, come on. Slavia cried out, as if offended. Oh, come on. You won't throw me out, will you? I smiled slyly. Alright, but if you get infected, you only have yourself to blame. I was happy with my little victory. Okay, then what shall we do? There should be some playing cards in the chest. Should you be going to sleep? Durak? Baccarat? I don't know. In fact, I don't know any other games except that one and poker. Okay. Like, you really, like, she's sick, right? Shouldn't she be going to sleep? We spent a lot of time playing. I completely lost track of time. We chatted, laughed a lot. Slavia didn't seem ill at all. Then midnight came. Time to sleep, probably. But where are you going to? Or where are you going to go? She gazed at me. Come on, you shouldn't be sitting in here with me. I can do it anyway. At the moment I could even fall asleep standing up. I'm sorry, weren't we tired? Slavia watched me for some time and then drew the curtain and said, "Good night." This curtain? Oh man, rejected. Night. I lowered my head on my arms and fell asleep in an instant. Despite being exhausted, I slept uneasily. It was more of a slumber. My awareness kept leaving me and returning again. The best possible state for dreaming something psychedelic. Bus number 410 drove past the room. It was snowing from the ceiling and my computer's monitor suddenly rose from the middle of the table. Wallpaper blended through the walls. Rubbish piles rose through the floor and my old bed materialized in the corner. I was in my old flat again. The scenery changed to that of my hometown. It was like I was running through endless hordes of people, bustling in and out. And then darkness fell on me. Primal, universal darkness. I jumped up in terror. I was sweating like a river. Slavia was looking at me worriedly from the bed. Just a bad dream. I did with a smile. You were screaming. Screaming what? I don't know. It was incomprehensible. The clock displayed 0:30, so 12:30 midnight, past midnight. Semyon, huh? I'm freezing. Oh, is she inviting me in? Oh, wink wink, nudge nudge. Slavia, you sly. I was gonna say dog, but I don't know. Minx? Slavia was rubbing the arms of her sweater, shivering. It's my sweater, I think, right? Hang on, I'll find a blanket. I searched through one cabinet after another, swearing to myself about how the damn infirmary had nothing to cover up the patients. I'm sorry, there's nothing here. Wait, I'll run and fetch something for you. You don't have to. Would you just lie with me? Oh, yeah. Slavia, you know what you want. Would you just lie with me here? Or here with me? It'll be much warmer. She was absolutely serious. Her voice sounded so is that piteous or piteous? That for a second, I was left breathless. Are you sure? Are you sure that it's okay? So it's not? She asked blushing. No, why? Oh, sexy times. That's my sweater? Okay. I slowly took off my shoes and laid on the very edge of the couch, trying to occupy as little space as possible, trying to shrink and stop breathing. Slavia gently embraced me and rested her head on my chest. Yeah, that's better. She purred. I was unable to say anything and just lay there calmly. Very good. Thank you. For what? Slavia kept her eyes closed and seemed ready to fall asleep at any second. For being here. It's fine. 2 minutes ago, she was desperately trying to get rid of me. No, really. Then you're welcome. She said nothing, but I was sure that Slavia smiled. Contact us anytime, as they say. You're so kind. You care so much. Well, I try. Her eyes are open. You're a good friend. Friend? Well, yeah, probably. Uh-oh. Friend zoned. Man. Somehow, this word hit me painfully. Semyon knows what's up. Getting friend zoned. On the other hand, there was no reason to believe that I was something more to Slavia than just a friend. What are these thoughts about anyway? You too. I just couldn't bring myself to find the right words. What's up with the you too? It's been a pleasure dealing with you. Okay. We hope for further mutual beneficial cooperation? Is that what the kids are calling sex these days? Alright. Okay, yeah, it's cool being friends with you too. Let's go and play in the sandbox. Okay. This was twice as hard to endure with Slavia lying right next to me. I can't run, I can't hide, and even without her looking me in the eyes, I knew that she sees right through me. You're distressed by something, aren't you? No, I'm fine, but I can tell that you are. Well, maybe. Want to talk about it? Well, not really. In fact, there's nothing really to talk about. Then you don't really know why you're upset? Yeah, probably. Then why get upset in the first place? Slavia laughed. I guess I shouldn't. That's great. She hugged me even harder. Not cold now? I'm fine. Just tell me if you're not comfortable. No, it's okay. I'm definitely uncomfortable, but I'm not gonna say anything, right? Because that's just what guys do. Like that time on the boat, my muscles, as if remembering that rowing competition, reminded me of it with a dull ache. It's totally different. Okay. She said slyly and raised her head a bit. So, everything is fine? Everything is fine? Yes, perfect. I started to worry. Slavia surely wanted something from me. Oh, she wants the D! Maybe. I don't know. Friend D? I don't know. Wanted me to do or say something. But what? Are you sure? Yeah, probably. Well then, have a good night. Oh, shut out. You too. After a while, she fell asleep. I checked the clock out of the corner of my eye. It was only 1 a.m., and that meant I still had to lie in this position until morning. Oh man, if that nurse comes in and sees us, oh man, she's gonna have to change those sheets. I wasn't really concerned about my arm going numb. Just being so close to Slavia in such a dangerous proximity, I couldn't sleep at all. Various thoughts were invading my head. Did she really consider this whole situation normal? Oh man. Oh man, she is just like, what? What's going on here? Kids, damn kids and their sexcapades. Just when I was thinking how bad it would be if anybody found us, the door opened, the light switched on, and Olga Dmitryevna rushed in. My heart jumped and stopped for a moment. Semyon! Started the camp leader in a diabolically calm voice. Oh man, that wasn't that calm. I've been searching for you everywhere, and you escaped from the forest ahead of time, didn't come back to the cabin to sleep, and now you're seducing our best pioneer. Slavia instantly woke up. She was staring at the camp leader with sleepy eyes for a few seconds, and then instantly understood what's going on and jumped from the bed. Yeah, you should be scared. Olga Dmitryevna, it's not what you think. I just fell ill. Semyon walked me here. And then I got a cold then. I told him to get into the cab, or I told him to go to his cabin. This is definitely how, like, the tone of voice she would carry in this situation, right? I'm pretty sure that's how it would be. Oh, yeah, sure. So you're sick, are you? Air quotes. I am, answered Slavia humbly. Then you'll have to get treatment. Oh man, give her a suppository, Olga. Shove it up her butt. She watched me menacingly. And you, get up and follow me. I understood that arguing was not an option and left the infirmary, not even looking at Slavia. We reached the square without saying a word. Olga Dmitryevna viciously looked over at me and said, "Time to go home. I need to have a serious talk with you." I felt awful the whole way. The camp leader, comrade, keep forgetting to say hi to you when you're face palming at the situation. I know, it's so sad, so awkward. The camp leader silently followed me, and I thought that once again I got into a stupid situation which will be perceived totally wrong by everybody. Nothing to discuss. What if I were in Olga Dmitryevna's place? Two teenagers cuddling in the empty infirmary at night. It's hard to come up with any apologies. The worst thing is that all these things always happen specifically to me. I always consider myself to have an analytical mind. However, I rarely got to put it into practice. We entered the cabin, and the camp leader continued the interrogation. Would you care to explain yourself? She seemed to have calmed down a bit. At least this side of her character was appealing. She was, of course, an impulsive woman, but she also cooled down quickly. That's really nice. Slavia already told you everything. You expect me to believe that? I can't force you to believe it, but I'm not going to invent any excuses either. It's because it's the truth. She looked at me for some time and then said, "Tomorrow I will decide what to do with you." Okay. The camp leader turned off the light. I rolled myself in the blanket, not even bothering to undress, and turned to face the wall. Interesting. Why does she only blame me for what happened? Of course, you always blame the guy, right? I wasn't there alone after all. Slavia is a role model pioneer, of course, but no, I didn't intend to shift the blame to her. I just felt too ashamed for getting into an idiotic situation once again, involuntarily, with no malicious thoughts, not expecting any trap. I could have laid there pitying myself for a long time, but fatigue overtook me and I blanked out. Okay. Next day. Come on, come on. Day 7? No, day 6. Okay. Oh. Does that mean we're in the clear? We triggered her ending? Nice. I didn't sleep well. I kept waking up for a minute or two and then dropping off again. I didn't dream much, just some grotesque images, forgotten by morning. Olga Dmitrievna woke me up. Wake up already! I rubbed my eyes open and looked at her questioningly. What time is it? Late enough. My whole body ached and my head was heavy like a bowling ball. Pull yourself together and go wash yourself, right now. I stood up obediently, took my toiletry bag and went outside. I didn't want to talk to the camp leader at that moment. A lecture was clearly coming, a hard one. But I better put it off as much as I can. After all, I always did things this way. Trying not to fall asleep on my feet, I somehow made it to the wash basins. The cold water knocked some sense into me. Maybe I should pay Slavia a visit? I still have some time left. Just to tell her I'm sorry. On the other hand, why should I justify myself? It was her idea. Yeah, it really was. Get into bed with me, Semyon. Slavia. And what did I do wrong? Besides, once again, getting myself into a silly situation where all the odds are against me. I took a deep breath and went back to Olga Dmitrievna's cabin with the firm intention of proving myself innocent or at least showing that I will stand my ground. But the room was empty. I sat on the bed and I dropped my face into my hands. I need to come up with an excuse, now. A nice and believable excuse. If she won't believe the truth, well, that's not surprising. If I was her, wouldn't have believed it either. Nothing worthwhile was coming to me. I was just sitting there gazing at the sunrise. The door swung silently open and the camp leader came into the room. Olga Dmitrievna, I'd still like to explain to you that, no need. I looked at her surprised. I understand everything. So you do understand it wasn't what it looked like? Why, it looked exactly like what it was. I don't want to condemn either you or Slavia. I understand everything. Puberty, hormones, all that kind of stuff. I sighed tiredly and laid my head down on my hands. What do I need to say to make you believe me? Nothing. I said it already. I understand everything. You don't understand a thing. I muttered under my breath. Oh, sorry. Okay. Head over to the lineup. I stood up and dragged myself lazily along with her. But could I at least pay her a visit? Of course not. The camp leader looked at me with such surprise as if my question was something completely inappropriate. I've already warned the nurse not to let you in. Oh, dang. That nurse, I'm pretty sure that nurse will let me in to see Slavia. I'm pretty sure, wink wink, if you know what I mean. Well, am I allowed to know how she is at least? Well, it looks like Slavia is actually sick. Comrade, I didn't manage to ask how serious it was as we reached the square already. Go and take your place. I took a place next to Electronic. So what happened yesterday? He whispered to me. What are you talking about? Well, you suddenly disappeared. Well, nothing special. Telling everything to the entire camp was the last thing I wanted. After all, if the camp leader got us wrong, then what would the others think? Electronic should be like, yeah, high five, man! Tell me all about that. I'm like, just go back to your girl robot. Though I've already started to think that it's not entirely wrong. The entire lineup consisted of a roll call and announcement that the shower room is closed today for repair. Finally, the pioneers ran for breakfast, chatting happily. I miserably followed them. Frankly speaking, I wasn't in the mood for eating at all. After hanging around the canteen doors for a while, I turned around and headed away. I don't know how it turned out this way, but eventually the infirmary appeared from nowhere in front of me. Looks like my autopilot just kicked in. I stared at the door at a total loss. They won't let me in anyway. What could I do now? Should I wait for Olga Dmitrievna's sentence, if it ever comes? Should I wait until everybody in the camp knows? And that's even worse. Wicked glances from everyone, the alienation. This is what will happen for sure. Oh, is it because, like, it's like we're the new kid and we get, like, the hottest girl in the school to, like, fall for us? Is that, and then, like, all the girls will be like, oh, that guy's a pervert, and all the guys will be like, I hate him because she loves him, or whatever, right? That little cliche thing? Is that what's going on? That's what he's worried about, at least. Watching too much anime, man. No, I haven't done anything wrong, but in the enclosed circle of this bizarre society, such behavior would be treated, if not as a sin, then as a serious deviation for sure. And that means that I've already got nothing to lose. I knocked without any hesitation. Just a moment. I pulled the doorknob, but the door wouldn't open. It's locked. In a few moments, I heard the key turning in the keyhole, and the nurse appeared. Good morning, Pioneer. Hi, I answered confidently. Well, you know that you're not allowed in here, or allowed to hear. Well, I do, but if you'd... Nah, that's not the way things work. Oh, man, come on, she said playfully. Oh, okay. Oh, I'm gonna have to do something for you to gain access to the Slavia, right? Yeah. Camp leader's order is an order, after all. If you ask me, personally, I don't find anything immoral in your behavior, but Olga Dmitrievna, maybe I can do something. No, you can't. I looked at her angrily, turned around, and walked away with theatrical slowness. I didn't know what to do next. I just pressed on forward, punching the trees that stood in the way. Really, man. I recovered from this burst of rage only when my hands were hurting badly and my lips were bitten until they bled. And the most interesting thing is that all my unbelievable awakening in an unknown pioneer camp has turned into the most trivial life drama. A drama as stupid as my entire existence. Yet again, I did something wrong, I thought. Yet again, I did something wrong. I thought something wrong. And they got it all wrong. Fine then, just let everything be. Nobody was near the canteen. I sighed in relief and took a place in the farthest corner, hoping that nobody would see me. Somehow, stuffing my breakfast in, I was able to leave around when Miku dashed up to my table. Oh, good morning, Semyon. I kinda overslept today. Can I take a place here next to you? She sat down straight away. Well, I'm kinda leaving already. Is it true that you and Slavia are like that? Well, you know what I'm talking about. She stared at me closely, blinking her eyes. Who told you that? Well, one would expect the rumors to spread fast, but not that fast. I started to slowly go into rage mode. Oh man, we're getting all Dr. Banner Hulk on her. I heard it from Xenia, and she probably heard it from Chizkov. He heard it from Olga Dmitrievna. I don't want you to misunderstand me. It's not my business, but if you don't want to, then don't answer. But if it's not a secret, you're right, I don't want to answer. I stood up and quickly headed towards the exit. It was a hot day. This amplified my anger since I didn't like the heat. Right now, anything could drive me out of my wits. But I had to make up my mind now on how to conduct myself. I didn't want to run into anyone, so I went into the forest where I could think calmly. Of course, the forest. Having stopped in a glade, I sat on a stump, took a stick, and started to pick at the ground with it. If there is nothing that's up to me, all I can do is simply wait. But, in fact, what can I do? Assault the infirmary? Even if I succeed, what comes next? Try to bring Olga Dmitrievna to her senses? Hardly possible. Funnily enough, this whole enigma turned into a simple everyday situation. If it was happening in my world, there would be no problems at all. Come on, really? What's the problem? Even if I did sleep with a girl, who cares? Even if I was actually 17, even then, nothing terrible would happen. It would be slightly more awkward, but still tolerable. Oh man. If this was the real world, you get her pregnant. More than likely. With his... Actually, no. I don't know. I was gonna say he has with his luck, but can't really justify that as bad luck. Can you? I don't know. And now what? I'm not the master of my fate, although was I ever? Is there anything at all that was up to me in my entire life? Have I reached any peak that I was seeking? And now, once I've reached one, I can't hold my ground. Maybe I was just a spectator from the very beginning. My mystical appearance in this camp... mystical? Really? Yeah, mystical appearance in this camp, all the local residents, all the events that happened to me, all that is just a weird game and I'm only a pawn. Else we're playing chess. Well, if that is so, I will still play out my role to the best. I got up and headed to the camp, prepared to take no prisoners. The plan wasn't completely finished in my head, but I made up my mind already. There was no one in the camp leader's cabin. I rummaged through the cabinets and packed up a sleeping bag, my winter clothes, a flashlight, and some other garments I found. I came out and immediately ran into Alyssa. Going for a hike? Yeah, for a hike, I reassured her. Well, take care. Thanks. She gave me a sly smile and went on her way. That was definitely a worthwhile encounter. I hastened my steps to the infirmary. The nurse is a human too in the end, and so eventually she will go to lunch. I hid in the bushes waiting. This again? Dude, you're so creepy. Man. Time flew by fast, my thoughts had settled, and I had a firm decision. My decision right now is whether I just end this or keep going till the end. And you know what? I really want to get an end, so let's keep going. Hopefully it won't take more than, I don't know. I don't want this to be an hour-long episode. I haven't thought my plan out beyond the first steps. I simply didn't care. The most important thing is that that I act the way I think is appropriate, and whatever happens next, let it happen. At last, the nurse came out of the infirmary. She looked around, noticing no danger, locked the infirmary with a key, and quickly went towards the canteen. As she went around the corner, I got to the window in a few bounds, and I started to hectically knock on it. Slavia showed up soon. Semyon, what are you doing here? You're not allowed to. How are you feeling? I'm fine, but Olga Dmitrievna told me to stay here for another day. She told me something completely different. Okay, get out, I said with confidence. What are you talking about? What for? She asked fearfully. Get out now, I'll explain everything later. Oh, we're gonna elope with her? Really, Semyon, that's your plan, eloping? She looked at me closely for a while, but then opened the window without further argument. I helped her to jump down to the ground. Okay, what next? Let's go. I grabbed her hand and made my way to the forest. Slavia... Semyon, is that why you grabbed the sleeping bag? So you can bang in the forest? Come on. It's not classy, man. Slavia stopped a few minutes later. Semyon, just what are we doing? What's wrong? Do you think that everything was right the way it was? No, I don't. But it'll be even worse this way. Why? We have the right to act the way... We have a right to act the way we think is correct. Okay, but what will happen next? I haven't thought about it yet. Every step in my plan had gone quite well until now, but I wasn't keen on thinking even one step ahead. Take a look. I opened the bag and showed the things I took from the camp leader's cabin. And? Slavia looked at me inquiringly. I don't know. We'll stay in the forest for a while. Show them that our opinion matters. But that's stupid and childish. Well, if you don't want to. She gave me a lamentable look. I'll do as you say. Oh man, these words gave me the creeps. As you say. Would you kindly? Nobody ever said anything like that to me. In any case, I think this is the best decision for now. Alright. I laid the sleeping bag on the ground, and we sat on it. So, what are we going to do? I don't know. I've never been so close to utter failure. No, I wasn't questioning my choice, but indeed I had no idea what to do next. What would you suggest? It would be nice to have something to eat. Have you brought anything with you? And that was exactly what I'd forgotten. No, I haven't, I replied slowly. Oh. That's fine. We kept sitting in silence. I wonder if they will look for us. Though, even if they do, they are unlikely to succeed. The forest is big enough. Hasn't hurt them before. It seems like every time we go into the forest, we always run into each other. But food. By the evening, I'll get hungry too. Okay, stay here. I'll be right back. Where are you going? To get some food. Maybe we should go together? No, I'll be right back. I headed back to the cabin at a rapid pace, leaving Slavia alone in the glade to get killed by bears. I'm absolutely certain that she won't go anywhere and will wait for me. I wish I was as certain that I'll remember the way back as well. Even if they haven't started to look for both of us yet, then surely they'll have found out that Slavia is missing, so I have to move carefully and try not to get noticed. In general, every single pioneer was a threat now. Not only those who knew me, such an obvious kidnapping will surely be known to everyone in no time. And while getting to the canteen in few sprints was not hard at all, I had no idea what to do next. I can't just walk in like nothing happened. Are you hiding there? I almost jumped out of my skin. Ulyana was standing behind me. Getting hungry? She stared at me. Come on, why so quiet? I was tongue-tied for a moment and couldn't think of an answer. So, why have you come? I'm gonna say... I think I say this if I want to point, so I'm gonna say I was just hungry. Oh, really? Yeah, really. Okay, I'll be right back. Much to my surprise, Ulyana didn't ask any awkward questions. In the blink of an eye, she zipped out of sight through the doors of the canteen. I was wondering whether I should trust her and wait, or I should flee before she returned with backup. However, Ulyana interrupted my doubts quickly as she reappeared in a couple of minutes with a plastic bag in her hands. Here you go. The bag was full of buns and a few packs of, kefir in it. But why? Well, 'cause it's brave and cool. She smiled slyly. Best regards to Slavia. Oh, why does she know? That's weird. Not really. Ulyana waved goodbye and ran away. I stood there for some time in confusion, but then went back to the forest. I was completely unlike Ulyana, but frankly speaking, I was thankful to her. In the end, I couldn't get food by myself during the day without getting myself into trouble. Upon getting back to the glade, I found Slavia sitting on a sleeping bag in the exact same pose. Here, I gave the bag to her. You got it so fast, she said excitedly. Well, I found help. She gave me a questioning look, but I didn't go into details. We ate busily without saying a word. I sighed with satisfaction in the end. Good, really good. Yeah, agreed Slavia. What are we going to do now? Maybe you have any suggestions? About what? Well, at least about how to deal with the camp leader. I don't know. And are you sure? Yes, I am. I interrupted her. This is an act of protest after all. She must be aware that she can't order me, I stuttered. Order us around. I feel like I've said something stupid. Even if I was indeed Olga Dmitrievna's errand boy, Slavia was. You're funny. She gave a cute smile. We could just go and talk with her. But if you want to sit here and wait, I'm fine with it. I tried to talk to her. Are you sure you did it the right way? What is the right way? To be honest, I didn't know the answer. Such awkward talks were always something of an insurmountable task for me. I bet if I knew how to deal with such cases, things would go another way. Of course, since I was afraid and blaming myself, there was no chance to be confident. I don't know. Slavia burst into laughter. What? Nothing. I just felt like a princess who was saved from the evil witch's castle by Prince Charming. I looked at her carefully. While all this sounded quite romantic, I thought that what Slavia had just said was absolute nonsense. But generally, Olga Dmitrievna is an evil witch. It makes some sense. Yes, the similarity is definitely there. I said it, spilling out every word. The princesses are given no choice in such cases usually. Slavia continued in a cryptic tone. Given no choice? That's impossible. It's me who had no choice here. Just sit and wait until I get back to reality by some miraculous chance. Does Slavia have anything in common with me? She is a role model pioneer, hardworking and beautiful. She has hundreds, if not thousands, of options. Probably this is the moment I've been dreaming about all my life. Such an unreachable girl as Slavia, not only sitting next to me, speaking and laughing, but completely depending on me. But is it a good or bad thing? And what should I do next? There were more questions than answers. When it's hard enough to make a decision about my own life and take responsibility for my own actions, how could I do that for both of us? Before now, I'd keep myself distant from such problems in the hope of everything resolving on its own without my input, but I couldn't act this way now. And not even because of the fact that heaven only knows where and in what time I was. You know, I could be wrong. She looked at me inquiringly. We won't achieve anything indeed, by just sitting here. And that's, and not just that, it's stupid and childless, you were right. And what should we do then? Let's go. We got up, I took the sleeping bag and headed to camp, holding Slavia by the hand. Comrade. Soon we came to the square where Olga Dmitrievna was standing as if she was waiting for us. Long time no see, she said angrily. Do you have something to say to excuse yourself? Let's see, the point, I have nothing to justify myself for, is what I need to say to get the point in Slavia, so, this is what we need to say to hopefully get the bad ending. We have no reason to justify ourselves, I replied obnoxiously. Oh, really? Okay then, so you think all of this is normal? Fine. She paused for a few moments and turned to Slavia. Go to your cabin. I understand that you're not the one to blame. Slavia didn't move an inch, she just lowered her eyes and held my hand even more tightly. Slavia! As you can see, she doesn't want to. What did you say to seduce her? Oh my god, I said nothing. I started losing my cool. Why do you think we've done something wrong? We haven't done anything at all. As if I haven't seen it, she grinned. Why she looks so happy? Like, I understand the grin, it should be more maniacal rather than cheerful, I guess. Well, I understand, yeah, they have, certain amount of set still images. So, what have you seen? She paused, but continued a second later in the same tone. I've seen enough. Wow, you're so good at drawing conclusions. Getting a job in the secret police? Stop it with your rudeness. I didn't even think of starting it. I said what? What does that even mean? I didn't even think of starting it. I said sarcastically. Okay, your time is up, and I'm not willing to continue this pointless argument. You're grounded till the end of the session. Oh wow, I'm grounded. Should I go sit in my in my room in the corner? Oh really? And how are you gonna manage that? I'll lock you down in the cabin. And what if I object? Olga gave me a surprised look. You should just throw me into the bomb shelter. It was just now that I realized a crowd was gathering around us. I could spot Lena, Alyssa, and Ulyana in the crowd. What do you mean by object? Said the camp leader slowly. What's Slavia gonna do? I meant exactly what I said. But you can't, a true pioneer. Well, that means I'm a false one. Olga Dmitrievna paused, as if she was pulling herself together. You think I can't force you? And how would you do that? I laughed, empathetically. Ignoring the various mystical forces that I was least concerned about right now, the camp leader indeed had absolutely no idea about enforcing anything. You know what? What? It looked like Olga Dmitrievna already understood that she had lost, but still couldn't admit her defeat because of her pride and her position as eldest and wisest in the whole camp. Komsomol was a youth division in the Communist Party. Young people who failed to join it generally were treated as outcasts in the society. I'll send a report to your school. You won't be accepted to Komsomol, and you won't be able to join the party. I had no way to respond against such serious threats. Accept it. You have no choice anyway. That's a very I feel like, talking with Slavia about like the princess thing and having no choices, I feel like that's a very, I wonder if they're like kind of digging deeper at this kind of this kind of notion of fate and all that stuff, and how like you have no free will, it's all predetermined, planned out for you, all that kind of stuff. Makes you think. I mean, because we're in this camp after all, and all these things are happening. You kind of feel like you have no choice in it, right? But it's like, well, in his normal life, he feels he has the semblance of free will, right? Like, yeah, anytime I could go out and like socialize and do whatever, but realistically, he's kind of confined to his everyday routine. He really had no choice, and that's kind of what I think they're making the statement, right? Like, this is where we're starting to finally realize that we have choice, we can control our lives, and we should do something about, the situation that we're in. So, anyways, deeper meaning aside, if that is what they're going at. Slavia, who had kept silent until now, intervened in the matter. Olga Dmitrievna, why do you assume you're right from the start? Why is Semyon always to blame for everything? What's so special about what has happened? What have we done wrong? Are you even sure of what you are blaming us for? And if it was anyone other than me sitting here, would you act the same way? Ooh, touche. Slavia, you should know that. That's the point. I know everything. I know you. I know that Semyon hasn't done anything wrong. I know that you're prejudiced against him without any clear reason, by the way. Even though he's trying his best. Yes, it looks awkward at times, but I know that he puts all his energy and his heart into it. And you're going to blame him just because he's the way he is? I was charmed by Slavia's monologue, listening to it without really getting whether she was praising me, declaring facts, or just stating her opinion, which is probably prejudice. I guess her exact words flew over me. Just the melody in her voice was enough. It hypnotized me and carried me away from the sick woman and stupid pioneer camp while calming and healing the wounds in my soul. Okay, I don't know what to do with you anymore. Olga Dmitryevna calmed down a bit. But I don't think I approve of your behavior. She turned away, sliced through the crowd, and headed to her cabin. I expected a storm of applause, like in American movies, but crowd started to dissolve quickly as the show came to its end. Olyana just winked at me slyly. Oh, that's creepy. Well, we kind of overdid it. I looked at Slavia. She was smiling. No, not at all. I'd be arguing with her until late at night, and you nailed it right and clear. I wouldn't get the right words like that even if I had an entire week to think. Oh, come on. What? It's a simple truth, not a trace of lies or flattery. She gazed into my eyes and burst into laughter. I just said the first thing that came to my mind, and this is how it turned out. Your first thought is the right one. That's how the saying goes. I guess it is. I just noticed that we were still holding each other by the hand. After feeling a bit awkward, I tried to pull my hand free, but Slavia didn't let me go, or didn't let me. This gave me chills for a second. Where will we go? I had no desire to go back to my cabin. Strictly speaking, I didn't want to stay in the camp at all. What would you suggest if we return to the forest? Slavia looked at me with surprise. Well, it's just sometimes... Okay, let's go. Wait, did she say that? Oh, no, I said that. I wasn't expecting such a quick response, and I had no idea how to finish my sentence. Is this the ending that we're hoping for? I was just going to tell her about a feeling I get sometimes when you want to go somewhere outside of your comfort zone. I kind of feel like this is going down a good path, but it might take a huge detour and end up bad. At least for a while, at least for a couple of hours. I used to do this thing quite often, visiting foreign districts or even neighboring cities. New places and scenery calmed my heart and helped. Okay, let me start that over. New places and sceneries calmed my heart and helped to realize that the world is not limited by my apartment walls or the daily routine to university or the workplace. And thus, there are people who are doing better or worse than me. And so my typical problems are not as bad as they appear. I suddenly smiled. What? Nothing. I just remembered. Never mind, let's go. We headed to the forest, still holding hands. Eventually we came to the glade, probably the one where we sat an hour ago. Or it could be a different one, as I couldn't distinguish one from another. Did we take our sleeping bag then? Here? Saliva gave me a questioning look. No, let's go further. Oh, that's not a good idea. Okay. After another half an hour of wandering through the forest, we came to a small lake. What a nice place. You're right. Slavia smiled enigmatically. Then I suggest we stop here. Nice place. I put the sleeping bag... Oh, we did take our sleeping bag. I put the sleeping bag on the ground and sat on it. Slavia did the same. And what are we going to do? I don't know. It was your idea to go into the forest. Yes, mine. I had to make a decision once again. While I had absolutely no idea of what could we do. We could talk, for example. But about what? Oh, come on, don't get so anxious, she laughed. I'm not. I can see that you are, or I can see you are. Well, it's just because it's fine, as you say. I sighed and stared at the ground. Maybe you can tell me about yourself. Well, there's nothing really to talk about. It's impossible that there could be nothing of interest in a person's life at all. How so? I'm an example of that. She hesitated. Could it be that you're not telling me something? Like what? I don't know. Like you're hiding something from me? But why would I? How would I know? You'd know better. Well, I don't. You said it like, how? Not right. Slavia laughed again. I'm sure that anyone but her would not be so calm here. Okay, so what do you want me to talk about? Well, tell me about yourself. Anything interesting that happened in your life? Right now, I was definitely sure that there was nothing interesting in my life at all. Okay, let me think. I made a smart face. When I was a kid, like 5 or 6 years old, I guess, there was a small hut near my family's country house. A solid one made from wooden boards with tar paper roof so it could be used as a bomb shelter in case of war. So one day I was sitting on top of it with somebody and suddenly fell off. And there were beds of strawberries behind it. And during those split seconds that I was falling, I thought, that's it, the Green Reaper had come for me, and my entire life ran through my head. A life just 6 years long, but still. So I fell onto those beds and obviously didn't feel anything as there were plenty of soft ground there. So, that's the story. Slavia laughed. But that's so silly. I didn't think so at the time. And what about now? I don't know. I guess it is. Fine. Tell me something else. You'll call that silly too. No, I won't. I started thinking again. Also, I once fell into a pond from a bridge and almost drowned. What the Dude, why do I always fall and almost die? What is this? Your stories are all Slavia said in an annoyed tone. I told you there isn't much to talk about. So I told you the first story that came to my mind. Speaking of which, the lake. Slavia looked at the water. Let's go swimming. Am I gonna drown? Am I gonna die? Is this Semyon Bad Ending version 2? I'm not really fond of that. I don't even have anything to swim in. Uh-oh. Skinny dipping? Oh, come on. She gave me a captivating smile. Well, I don't know really. Of course, I was eager to agree, but I still hesitated. Oh, come on. Slavia laughed and ran off to the lake, unbuttoning her shirt on the way. She's still wearing her bathing suit, I think, right? Well, I stood up from the sleeping bag and slowly headed her way. When I came closer, Slavia was already splashing in the lake with all her clothes left lying around. Come here. Well, I'm not sure if I want to, I mumbled slowly. Come on, it's fun in here. She didn't seem to feel awkward about my presence at all, while I wanted to turn away at first. But here's the question, what is more appropriate here? If Slavia thinks it's okay and I act awkwardly, want to defend her? But that isn't the most important thing now. I didn't bring my swimming trunks. Guess that wasn't the most suitable excuse at the moment. So, neither did I. Slavia said with the voice a level quieter. Don't be afraid. I'm not. There's nothing to be afraid of. So get in. I don't know what to say. I probably wanted to comply, but with everything happening some other way, not in such a spontaneous random manner, and really, why is Slavia so friendly to me? Or is there something more to it than that? I really don't get it. It's up to you, she said disappointingly. Light the fire then. Huh? What for? Because when I get out, I'll need a way to dry myself. Oh, yes, fine. I quickly went to the sleeping bag, picked up branches on my way. Collecting firewood wasn't a problem at all, but how do I light the fire? I had neither a matchbox nor a lighter. Like every educated person, I knew that it's possible to do it by rubbing one stick against the other, but I've never done it before. Well, I had no other ideas. I started to drill one stick into another slowly. I was lucky that the sticks were dry enough because otherwise I had no chance at all. Actually, I was quite skeptical about my chances, but after just about a minute, some smoke appeared and a faint fire flared up, dying out a moment later. At least it was clear that I could handle this way of starting a fire. It took me another 20 minutes of suffering, but in the end, I had a small enough fire burning next to the sleeping bag. I was throwing more sticks into it lazily. This is how it turns out. Man can adapt to anything, and so I could probably even survive in a snowy forest. My survivalist thoughts were interrupted by Slavia, who suddenly appeared right above me. Wow, you're so good. I lifted my gaze and quickly turned away. She was wearing a shirt, but thanks to its dampness, it wasn't hiding much. Yeah, wink wink. It wasn't a problem with the lake, but it's quite different when she's so close. Oh, that's okay. Sure. Nudity at a distance is okay, but up close, I'm a little uncomfortable with that. One wouldn't get lost with you. Slavia sat with her back against mine. I hope it will dry off quickly. I thought her shirt was damp. Now my shirt's gonna be damp. Come on. Somehow I was hoping so too. So what? What? I asked with a muddled voice. Tell me something else. I don't really know. Or I don't know, really. I felt like something was stuck in my throat. Storytelling was definitely out of the question. You've gotten so stiff suddenly. Oh, that's weird. How does she know I'm stiff? Wink. Really? Why would I? It's nothing, just boner. I had a feeling that I wouldn't be able to just sit like that any longer because of the raging boner. Animal instincts were clouding my mind, yep. You think this is normal? What? Sitting like this? What's wrong with it? Seems like Slavia really didn't understand. Well, you are... Do you really not get it? I sighed helplessly. Well, I'm not really sure. Her voice sounded cunning. What do you think? Well, I'd... Maybe we shouldn't hold back? Whoa. Her words flashed through my head. She's giving her consent. Oh, black screen. Ha! Something wonderful happened between us. Something that I couldn't even dream of 6 days ago. Wait, did I end up getting the good ending? Maybe here it is. The reason for me being in this camp. That was amazing. Yeah. For a while we just lay close to each other. It's getting chilly. Hang on. I unfolded the sleeping bag and we got inside together. Slavia rested her head on my shoulder. Mind if I take a quick nap? I just feel so tired. Sure, go ahead. Soon her breathing became deep and steady. The wind quietly rustled the leaves on the trees around us. The grass was swaying next to us, tiny bugs buzzed annoyingly overhead. Suddenly I realized this was the best place I had ever seen in my life. Thinking that, I fell asleep. Okay. Opened my eyes and saw the top of an oak roaring above. A strong wind had risen, chilling me to the bone. A full moon was staring right at me. Night has fallen. I couldn't really tell what time it is, but it didn't matter much. Slavia was still asleep. Oh, this is still going. Okay. Well, this episode is already like an hour long. I mean, it's heavily implied that we slept together, right? And that's usually a good thing. So I'm not sure if I actually got the bad ending. I think I'm going to go ahead and just save this because this went on a lot longer than I thought it was going to. I'm going to save it here. And we'll go ahead and finish that up next time and see what ending we get. I don't see how this can turn out to be bad, so I might have to start a new file and do some other stuff earlier on that's not putting points down Slavia's routes in order to get the bad ending if this ends up being the good ending, which, I don't know. Well, we'll figure all that out next time, and hopefully we'll finally get an ending. Okay, I don't know. So, yeah, until next time, thank you for watching. Bye.